Hey, Harmonic Sonics here with my Modwave. This is a drum sound I made only using multi-samples and the arpeggiator with latch mode, and I did use the step sequence lanes as well as the shape lane to make this complex sound. I'm going to play it. It's called congas. That's the mod wheel ratcheting the hi-hats. So, how did I make this? It took a couple hours, honestly. I'm going to start with layer A. If you look down, well, you can't look down, so I'll pan down. There, to the motion sequence lanes. So what's happening there, I'm going to zoom back to this screen now, carefully. I'm not using OBS on this here. I'm going straight with the cell phone, yes. So, I'm using drum bongo 1 high open and drum conga low open slap. So it's a bongo and a conga, right? But I'm moving the pitches around with the steps, and I'm also doing other stuff. So I'm gonna go to the mods list. It's the quickest way of explaining it. So the filter LFO note is going to mod wheel CC1, an intensity of -18, and that's going to actually be, I think this is the ratcheting hi-hat, which is what I think the noise oscillator is going to, but let's just see. Remember filter LFO. Yeah, sub noise going to filter LFO to 20%. So that's what that is. So everything's a little out of order here. That's how this goes. And Modwave is not a 101 drum sequencer, especially with the multi-samples. Yeah, so oscillator 1 LFO, filter LFO offset. What's the oscillator 1 LFO? Random 3. The square random waveform at 8th notes. Now, the arpeggiator is going at a 16th note rate, and the tap tempo is at 120. Okay. I have octave set to 3, so let's say if I hit several notes. Oh, I have to turn our arp back on. Kind of has that bend going on. But there's more going on too. Let's see. So yeah. Oh yeah, filter LFO offset going to oscillator 1 LFO. Because I noticed the offset makes a bit of an accent. And then I have the amp LFO offset going to the pitch LFO. That's a regular saw down. Almost all of these are saw downs or some crazy random square, because the percussion is just very more faster. But if I talk too much, it might not make sense. So amp decay is being modulated by the amp LFO at a maximum intensity. So that's just makes the notes feel longer sometimes or shorter, depending on the note. It's a sawed-down waveform, so I guess it gradually goes down. I have an offset at -100, and the offset is going to the pitch LFO, which is another saw waveform, but you notice it's dotted quarter note on the pitch LFO and regular quarter note on the amp LFO. All right, that doesn't mean anything on its own. And the intensity is +200. It lets you double that. Amp envelope release going to oscillator 2 LFO, that's maximized. And the original value, hit enter and turn any knob and you'll see what it actually, that value is. I have it at 0 right now. The oscillator 1 level, okay. So the volume levels of each of the oscillators are being sent to LFOs. And that is why I have them with these sawed down or on-off square type waveforms. Because they'll be heard quickly with the arpeggiator. Because it doesn't stay on one step, it keeps going. And the speed is a 16th note speed. If I slowed the tap tempo down, everything would just go slower. And you would still hear everything. That's set to 100%. Oscillator 1 LFO is this 8th note square waveform. Random square, I guess. And oscillator 1 tune is going to oscillator 1 LFO at an intensity of -1 semitone. I don't want it going down too far. But yeah, I have it going down that far, and a pitch LFO is at the mod intermittent modulator, I guess that means, right? It's like a secondary modulator. And again, the pitch LFO is a sawed down waveform at dotted quarter note speed. That's how you hear the pitch changes on the really cool looking sounding bongo sound. Oscillator 2 levels going to oscillator 2 LFO, maximum intensity, and this is the random one. It's a different one. So I try to have the two oscillators have a different random cycle so they hit at different times, kind of, right? And the oscillator 2 tune, changing at oscillator 2 LFO at about +4 semitone. So that's why that's also the slappier one is oscillator 2. Those aren't the only ones that are happening. Yeah, oscillator 2 tune. I'm also sending not only to oscillator 2 LFO, but also to the pitch LFO. So I'm sending it to two different places at two different pitches. One at +4, one at +2. Right? For the sub noise filter, like I said before, filter LFO, 20%. But I'm also sending the hi-hat sound, that's just a noise, which is white noise, to the step sequence B at 20%. And now I'm going to start looking into the step sequence lanes. So here I am at step sequence lane B, and the mode is random. So I'm going to play a key and hit arpeggiator on again. You might hear different accents, different lengths of some of the noises. You may not hear it. So I'm using the mod wheel there to make it go faster. But there's other things you can also do to make it go faster, and that would be the, sorry, not that lane. I'm going to go back to the preset again. Let's go to the sequence view. So step sequence B is the third from the bottom on here. I guess it doesn't reveal too much on its own. A timing lane, that's the one I wanted to look at. I don't know if I've changed anything here. I don't think I've changed anything in the timing lane, so I literally left it the same. Now if I did, I wanted to change the speed to ratchet automatically in the sequence. And that's like, might be something I won't want to do in the future. I wanted to do this video just to try to show how I've started discovering how to use multi-samples on Modwave to make complex, not just a simple, kick, snare, kick, snare type of 4 on the floor beat. I wanted to do a little bit more changed and randomish kind of organic, almost organic sounding things. So yeah, so where was I? Go back to where I was. Oh yeah, step sequence B, and that's just all the ones that I have on here. All right, so let's look. I just want to check out step sequence A. Did I put anything there? I should not have. No, there's nothing there. So that's right. That's all layer A. And layer B, so So I have drum kick dry on oscillator 1, drum snare big rock on oscillator 2. And I'm not using the sub oscillator this time. I'm still not using the oscillator 2 AM or RM morphs, but I have done that with pads and samples. So kind of a vectory kind of thing, which is really neat actually. But I haven't tried it yet with multi-sampled drums, and I might want to do that in a future video. But right here, here's what I got, and turn the arpeggiator on. It's a little clunky if I hit it in the wrong way. That's kind of what I wanted it to do. And the reason it depends on when I hit it is because of the modes I have the step sequence lanes in. It is a little choppy, and I'll show you why. Okay, so layer volume, that's a separate thing in Mod Knob. Oscillator 1 level is going to filter LFO. That's a dotted 16th sawed down waveform. And it's also going to the amp LFO, which is a exponential sawed down waveform at quarter note triplet speed with a -54 offset. Phase of 0, and yeah, so it's doing that. And it's also going to step sequence C. So it's doing a lot of stuff. It's probably why you're hearing that stuttery sound. See, 13 and 15 are the two kicks. Boom, boom. So it's not a perfect pattern, but all the hits are where more or less where I need them to be, and that's through the note advance. Step sequence C, let's look at that. So they're all at S and H mod. So the kicks I put at 3, A3, A7, A11, A13, and A15. And I have it, it's going forward. I have note advance turned on. Because when you don't have note advance turned on, it only does the first several steps in any of these sequences. So I have the transition to log. I need the notes to sound longer. What happens if I make it individual? They all sound a little different. Exponential, linear, sorry. Transition off now. So I'm going to keep it on logarithmic. And so, yeah, note advance being on, and shape lane is also on. Let's go to the shape lane. I have every step set to 75 pulse log. It's a little shorter than all the way on, but it kind of has an end to the sound, like a kick might expect a real kick to have. At least I thought so. So I did that. Now oscillator 2 levels going to the pitch LFO, step sequence A. So the pitch LFO, he has a half note saw down because the snare, you want it on the 2 and on the 4 in a 4/4 beat. The offsets and curves are at completely -100. And step sequence A, I think, was the other one. So let's look at step sequence A next. 16 steps, mode forward, note advance on, and shape on. Individual transition. So it's a little different the time I did this time. If I just hit each note one at a time without the arpeggiator on. I'm just hitting the key. because it's going through all the steps. Arpeggiator is on. So it hits something on there. I'm not sure what it's hitting, but it's hitting something there, and it's trying to go through it. So those are all the mods on this layer. And the shape lane here, as I said, is 75 pulse slot. So the whole sound altogether is pretty good. I think what I'd like to do is to get layer A to turn off also if I wanted it to. So why don't I do that? So now there's nothing. That way you can hear both of them. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted to show, just to prove to myself there is a way to make drum sequences using note advance and step sequence lanes with S&H mod turned on all the steps with a longer wave shape saw down type of log down waveform. And the noise sound was pretty good with the random squares. I thought that made it seem a little closer. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.